Hey guys, this is the Vainglory supporter team once again with you to talk about the new released hero, Ardan. We're gonna take this video to take a deep look at his different playstyles and take a look at his abilities. So let's jump right to it. Well, first of all, Ardan is a protector. Put that in mind. He's not going to deal a lot of damage. He's not an AD carrier or anything like that. He protects your allies. If you're controlling Ardan, you should protect your allies. If you're not controlling Ardan, if there is any Ardan in your team, you should be counting with his protection, because that's what he is supposed to be doing right there. Okay, so let's take a look at his heroic perk, his passive ability. It says here, Julia's Gift. Ardan heals for 1% of his missing health every time he takes damage. Well, first of all, if you heal 1% of your missing health every time you take damage, then you should have a lot of health, right? Because if you have a lot of health, I mean not armor, not shield, but a lot of health. Because if 1% of your missing health is a lot, then you're going to be healing a lot of yourself and you can tank really a lot. Alright? The healing can never exceed 75% of damage taken, which is obvious. You cannot become this kind of monster. And instead of energy, Ardan uses a yellow meter called Vengeance. This is extremely important. Ardan is not using energy like any other hero in Vainglory, because all the other heroes use energy, which is the blue bar. They use this for the abilities, you already know that, but Ardan is a different hero. He's not using that energy bar, he uses a Vengeance bar. So what is this Vengeance bar? This Vengeance bar is what he's going to use his abilities, but not quite this simple. It's like he doesn't have a properly called cooldown in his abilities. It depends, it varies on each ability. So let's take a look at the abilities and then we should talk about that, alright? First of all, the Vanguard. Ardan dashes to an ally, damaging and slowing nearby enemies while granting the target a burst of move speed and a 3-second barrier that scales with 50% of Ardan's bonus health. So you can either use this on yourself or in an ally. If you're alone in the jungle, I mean, you could probably use it. You're not going to take damage from the monsters in like what, 3 seconds here it says. Okay, it's good, but its cooldown, it's what makes this ability awesome. In the level 1, the cooldown of Vanguard is 17 seconds, and as it goes through the level 5, it goes up to 13 seconds, which means this ability is really useful, and it doesn't consume any of your Vengeance bar. It only depends on the cooldown for you to use it again. So when should you use it or not? If you're alone in the jungle, as I said, you should probably use it on you, so you can like kill the monsters and get that buff or get that minion miner. I don't know, but you should if you know there's no enemy coming nearby. Because if any enemy comes, you should be using it yourself to protect from your enemy, not from the monsters. Alright? So when you're using again, or in the lane, if, I don't know, your hero decides to dive into combat and then you just, boom, vanguarded him, you give him armor, you give the enemies low, and you give him move speed, alright? It's really useful. So if you're, I don't know, running from an enemy, if you're fleeing away, use it on yourself. It is 50% less effective than using it in another ally hero, but it still causes some anger in the other team, because it's really difficult to catch you if you use this Vanguard perfectly timed. Alright, and as I was saying, it doesn't actually consume your Vengeance bar. You can use this ability, like you can spare it, because there's no proper cooldown for it. There's no proper Vengeance recharge, as I was saying. This ability, it depends only in its own cooldown for you to use it again. So let's talk about the other ability, which is Blood for Blood. This is the punch. Ardan can deal with some enemies and monsters or minions, doesn't matter. But this ability is really important. Blood for blood, it says here, Ardan leaps and punches his target. This deals crystal as well as weapon damage. That can crit, alright, and applies basic attack effects. Well, first of all, when you use blood for blood, you're gonna use all of your vengeance meter. All of it. I mean, 100%. So you can only use when you're 100%. So, then you ask me, well, what were you saying about the cooldown? What were you saying about the vengeance recharge? Because you're just saying that you can use blood for blood only when he has a full vengeance bar. Well, that's right. But do you know how to fill up that vengeance bar? Just dealing damage, just punching a lot. It doesn't matter if it's a minion, it doesn't matter if it's a monster or an enemy hero. But if you're punching, if you're dealing damage, if you're dealing attack damage, then you should be recharging your vengeance bar. And this ability, it has no proper cooldown. It says here that the cooldown of ability is 20 seconds in each level. Like level 1 is 20 and the level 5 is still 20. But why 20? In this case that they specify is the case in which you don't hit a single enemy. You don't damage a single enemy. Because if you do so, this cooldown will be a lot lower. Alright, if you're just waiting for your damage bar to recharge, yeah, it will take probably 20 seconds. Alright, but this ability is used for you to do a lot of damage in little time. Alright, and of course you can jump right into the battle with the blood for blood punch. It's good, but it scales up with crystal power too, which means you should be careful here. We're already going to take care about that. But let's move on to the other ability, which is his ultimate called Gauntlet. Alright, and it says here, Ardan throws down the gauntlet, projecting a perimeter around the target area and gaining full vengeance. Enemies who cross the perimeter are stunned and take crystal damage. So, if you think about it, as I say, Ardan is not a huge damager on your team. You understand that he's not a huge damage dealer. His job in the team fight is a little bit more tactical, is a little bit more strategical. Alright? If you time well his abilities, you should be able to stun your enemies in a perfectly timed moment in which your allies could take care of him and you can take care of him alone if you do it right. But it's a really important ability, because let's give two examples of use for the gauntlet. Let's suppose you were walking into a bush, and when you walk in there, when you put your feet in there, the 3 enemy heroes are there waiting for you, and they just start coming over you. What do? Well, first of all, you use Vanguard and you protect yourself, gaining move speed and slowing them down. Alright, that's good, but they already have their boots, they're already gonna rush to you. Alright, so then you click on the gauntlet and you put your finger, you click as far away as possible. And if you time it right, if you do it right, then Ardan is going to jump that distance you just clicked and making an area like a perimeter in which no enemy can trespass without being stunned. Which is really awesome, because the tactical use of this ability is incredible. If there's anyone who is inside the gauntlet, who is inside the ultimate, well, he's not taking damage, he's not doing anything. And if there's anyone like outside of it, he's not doing anything, or he's not doing anything too. He's not taking damage, he's not a threat as well, because they are only going to take damage when they trespass the barrier. So this is where you should pay attention. How to make them trespass this barrier? Well, you make them not want to trespass this barrier. So when you jump, you create the barrier in order for them not to cross and not to pursue you anymore. So this is like a defensive use of Gauntlet. Perfect. Alright, but what of an offensive use of Gauntlet? Well, let's suppose you are being ganked in the lane and your ally is coming, but he's far away right now. So what are you gonna do? Well, Taka, for example, he's assassin. He's rushing to you. You just got hit 2 times, 3 times. You're running to your turrets. You vanguard yourself to protect, but she's coming after you. She's coming, and when you think is the right time, you use your potions. I don't know what you do to keep alive, to make sure you will not die. But when your ally comes, which is where your strength lies. I mean, Ardan is only good with an ally nearby here, so be careful with that. Be careful with that. What can we do when your ally comes? Well, when your ally comes, Taka is probably gonna run away, and when she does, you just gauntlet, and she just won't be able to run away. If she does, well, she will take damage and be stunned at the same time. So, what is the important part here? We're gonna deal damage based on your crystal power. Have you ever seen a crystal power item that doesn't give you any energy bar bonus, any energy recharge? Well, do you use energy? No, we don't use energy. What if we buy an item, I don't know, with energy recharge? If we buy an item that gives us extra energy, what do? Well, it says in his heroic perk. In his heroic perk, it says that Ardan has no energy. Any bonus energy, 5%, and any energy regeneration, 50%, are converted to crystal power. So, which means if you're getting energy recharge or bonus energy items, it will be converted to crystal power, which will give you more damage in the gauntlet, more damage in the blood for blood as well, which has a crystal radio portion of the damage. So you see, it's all correlated. But in the game, as the game goes through, if you're a beginner, it probably will make no difference at all. But as the games go through, you have to enhance your items. You have to make sure they're up to date. So you're gonna get owned. All right. So let's talk about the items right now. The main build for Ardan will probably be floating around attack speed items, and probably which means you're gonna have a lot of health and a lot of attack speed too. I mean, not a lot, but considering attack speed, because remember what I said. Every time you hit an enemy, doesn't matter if it's a minion, a monster, or an enemy hero, every time you hit an enemy, your vengeance bar is gonna be filled a little bit. I mean, it's a significant bit, but it will. And when you do so, your blood for blood, which is your second skill, will be usable again. So it's really important for you to have some attack speed and some attack damage. It will make a difference, alright? And I'm not considering the boots here because you're supposed to get that in any build, alright? And when you're rushing for those two items, you're probably wanting to get some armor as well as some crystal power. I recommend alternating current, because if you have enough crystal power, because alternating current, in my opinion, it is the most hybrid, the most balanced item between crystal power and attack damage, and it mixes these two very well. And blood for blood will need this too. Not blood for blood only, but Vanguard and Gauntlet as well. They're gonna need this portion of crystal radio, because if you take a look at Vanguard, the amount of damage you can soak up with the Vanguard and the barrier you create also depends on your crystal radio, which means you're not going to protect your allies that good if you don't have crystal power. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why the heroic perk gives you crystal power in exchange for bonus energy and energy regeneration, because you're not going to get that once you don't have an energy bar. So as I was saying, If you want, you can do it a lane Ardan, but it's really difficult. I recommend you to go to the jungle and, I don't know, support your ally, which is probably there with you, and try to take on the enemy heroes that are on their jungle. Because with Ardan on your side, or if you are Ardan, they're gonna have a difficult time. It doesn't matter if it's crew, it doesn't matter if it's Taka. Alright, do so. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're looking for more videos like this with a deep look of Ardan, stay tuned. We'll be releasing in about a week. Alright? See you. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.